Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
Breaking news alert. A survey just released by the Fargo Public Schools show the majority of parents want kids back in the classroom this fall. The district says 7,600 parents responded and 1,900 staff also took the survey. When asked if they want in-person, hybrid, or completely online learning, the majority of parents said they want kids back in the classroom. But for staff, the majority went for a combination hybrid approach. For both groups, complete online schooling came in last. Now, to see the complete breakdown of numbers for the group, you can find this story on the VNL News app. New for you at noon, Fargo police say one man is in jail for dealing drugs that led to an overdose. 25-year-old Jacob Brandt is under arrest for delivery of heroin. Police say it's in connection to a surge of overdoses in the metro. Brandt was on parole for delivery of heroin out of Ward County in western North Dakota. Delivery of heroin is a Class B felony. Also new at noon, authorities are looking for the person who backed up to a camper for sale at an RV lot and then took off with it. The theft happened last week at Pleasureland RV in Long Prairie in Todd County, Minnesota. The sheriff's department says this black or blue Chevy pickup backed up to a 2016 Keystone Carbon 357 and stole it. The camper is white with black graphics on it, and it will have a Thompson RV sales sticker on the back. Now call police if you have any information about this theft. This afternoon shaping up to be a pretty nice one out there. Blue skies, sunshine, even started out as a pretty good morning for most of us. To see if this will stick around, let's head on over to First Alert Storm Team meteorologist Lisa Green.
Good afternoon. For most of us, yes, we're looking at some gorgeous weather continuing, especially in the Northern Valley where we've got all that blue sky here on our radar and visible satellite map. But you could probably see that kind of broken line of clouds. Those are clouds showing up on that visible satellite map, and that's right where the boundary is. So we're starting to see some showers firing along that. So again, it's right along this area. So it stretches from southeastern North Dakota up through Fargo, Moorhead, and back up through Bemidji here this afternoon. Already seeing some green on the map and some thunderstorms over east of us, and some of that may start to develop as we continue on into the afternoon. Just zooming in on this area, you could see some showers north of Bemidji, a couple of them in northwestern parts of Becker County too. And looking that direction, the sky's looking a little darker in that direction too, in that one little pocket. And temperatures are going to be rising. We're going to see some upper 70s to some mid 80s today, and that isolated shot for thunderstorms. So we're going to take a look at that coming up in your hour-by-hour planner. More stormy weather and some real heat building in by the end of the week too. We'll have that full forecast for you coming up.
Sounds good. Thank you, Lisa. One Fargo man is now charged after a string of bizarre and scary events on Tuesday morning. 26-year-old Brock Toei is charged with felony attempted burglary, terrorizing, and giving false information to police. Police were called to Happy Harry's just before 4 Tuesday morning for a report of a glass break alarm. That's at the 52nd Avenue store. Officers were then later dispatched to a report of a home invasion. The female victim told dispatchers a man had broken in their front door and yelled, quote, "I'm going to kill you." He was eventually detained by one of the homeowners until police arrived. A South Fargo neighborhood was the scene for a search through a reported stolen pickup. The vehicle was found in the 1900 block of 14.5 Street around 1 this morning. It was the pickup that Clay County deputies had tried to stop earlier in the night. Fargo police spent about an hour searching the truck that was parked in someone's driveway. There's no word on any arrests or why the deputies were trying to stop that driver in the first place. A vigil is being held this evening for an airman killed on the Grand Forks Air Force Base earlier this summer. Natasha Aposhin died in a shooting in one of the dorms at the base. Her father says that his daughter had been dating a fellow airman but ended things with him the night before she died. Now, family is calling on the military to be held accountable for domestic and sexual violence that happens in the service. The vigil is set to start at 7 this evening in front of the Grand Forks Federal Courthouse, and we'll have more on this vigil tonight on Valley News Live at 9 and 10. The Minnesota Department of Health is reporting 578 new COVID-19 cases today, bringing the active case count to 4,045. 8 new deaths are also reported, bringing the death toll to 1,515. 38,179 Minnesotans are listed as recovered. The North Dakota Department of Health has confirmed 72 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the active case count to 717. No new deaths have been linked to the illness, keeping that total number at 88. There are currently 42 patients hospitalized for the disease, while 3,760 are listed as recovered. Information on COVID-19 cases in hospitals will no longer go directly to the CDC. The hospitalization numbers will instead go to a central database in Washington, D.C. The Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs at the Department of Health and Human Services says the CDC's, quote, old data gathering operation is an inadequate system today. The New York Times, which first reported the move, says the new database is not open to the public. A promising development in the search for a coronavirus vaccine. Laura Podesta explains why top health experts are now cautiously optimistic.
Every single one of the volunteers who was part of the first COVID-19 vaccine tested in the U.S. showed an immune response, according to researchers. The experimental vaccine was developed by Moderna and the National Institutes of Health. The team reported in the New England Journal of Medicine that the 45 people who received it now have so-called neutralizing antibodies, key to blocking infection.
This is a 2-dose vaccine, and there were some people who had sore arms and a little bit of fever and some fatigue, etc. The small price to pay for protection against COVID, I would think.
The goal is to have 300 million doses of potential vaccines by January. But top U.S. epidemiologist Dr. Anthony Fauci warns just because it may soon be available doesn't mean the problem is over entirely.
What we hope is that with a combination of people having already been exposed and a vaccine that's anywhere from 70-75% effective, that there will be enough herd immunity, that there will be a time when you and I don't have to worry about getting infected.
The initial study tested young adults. Within the next few weeks, researchers will embark on a new 30,000-person study. That'll help answer, among other questions, how more at-risk Americans like older adults respond. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
The next testing phase will also help determine whether there are potentially more serious side effects. Nearly 24 possible COVID-19 vaccines are in various stages of testing around the world. Candidates from China and Britain's Oxford University also entering a final testing stage. In our consumer alert this afternoon, restaurant sales are up, but most Americans still aren't comfortable eating inside a restaurant. The latest data from NDP shows transactions were up week to week, but they're still down 10% compared to last year. And speaking of restaurants, as dining rooms continue to reopen, Chipotle is making a pledge to hire 10,000 employees over the next several months. In May, the company kicked off a campaign to drive hiring, resulting in about 8,000 new employees to date. Despite the coronavirus pandemic, the chain has been opening new locations and building drive-through lanes for online orders only. Coming up here at noon, how a branch of the U.S. military is taking the fight to COVID-19. That's coming up in just a bit. But next, Elisa Green is in with a check of the forecast and who's seeing some showers right now this afternoon.